Hey, what's up? This is the live Q&A. I'm pulling up everything here. I think we got the chat room going. I see a couple questions in there. Awesome. Hey, Sarah. Hey, Toki. What's up? I hope everyone can hear me okay. I think it's looking good. I was just pulling my light kit out. A couple people were asking about it the other day. This is the small one that I talked about, the newer 160. And since I'm buying time right now, it makes sense. I can just show you. It comes with a rechargeable battery. It's pretty awesome, and you could actually mount it like on top of a DSLR if you want. But it also has like a screw in the bottom, which you can see there. And I could just put it on my little tripod clamp like so, and we're good to go. Hey, David, what's up? Good to have you on. Richard's on as well. Good to have David back. I think he had a cold. Everyone tell David we're glad he's feeling better. And while we're just chilling here for a second, oh, there's the light. That's good. That's much better. Let's tighten this baby up. It's like the sun shining in my face. That's good, though. That's good. All right. I was just answering emails, so that's why I'm running around. I didn't set up the lights like I was supposed to. That's much better now, isn't it? Okay, Leo's on too. Awesome. Adnan, Florian. Oh, I haven't seen Florian Peter on for a little while, but good to have you on as well. Hope things are good down there. Paul's on. What's up? So it's been a pretty busy week overall. A couple things going on. Like next week, I'm not going to be doing the 2 normal live streams. However, there's plenty of content. That's what I've been working hard on. So I actually shot several videos. I have some in the queue, and I hired this great woman in the Ukraine to edit some videos for me, and she's doing like an awesome job. She's way faster than I am. Like, I don't know what I'm doing that's taking so freaking long, but like, she's doing a great job, and she's doing a better job than me, and she's doing it like 5 times faster or something. So I mean, I kind of like editing the video, but there's something in my workflow that's like bad. So she's doing really well, and that helped a ton. Today is a Q&A, of course, so you can, type in questions, type in #Q, and it'll be a little, just slightly easier for me to see. You can ask random questions. So I know sometimes I roll my eyes when people ask questions that are completely unrelated to the topic. Also, sometimes they're super basic and unrelated to the topic. So the thing is, today you can ask whatever you want. So all right. And as I'm letting more people hop on, I do have this cool cup right here. It's a coffee mug. I think a couple weeks back, maybe David asked me about the coffee mug. And if we put it in the right spot, it's actually it's like a life-size head. So that's really cool. So the reason why I'm not doing the live streams next week is because I have some family in town. My sister, brother-in-law, and their 2-year-old daughter, my niece. They're coming to Montana for the first time, so we're gonna head over a couple towns over. We have an Airbnb, so I'll get out of my normal area. I will bring my laptop, but I'm planning on not using it unless like some website of mine, the server explodes or something, which can happen. But I just want to make sure that I have the ability to do something if I have to. But I'm hoping to just like totally unplug. We're gonna play some board games. We will drink some beer, probably a decent amount of whiskey. We like bourbon and scotch. My brother-in-law, Sam, he really enjoys a peaty, whiskey, a very peaty scotch. So, all right. I see people are asking questions, and I'm just rambling on. But I do have family in town. Really looking forward to that, and I'm really looking forward to unplugging and like sort of decompressing. I mean, it takes me a good 24 to 48 hours like away from work just to sort of slow down a little bit. And hopefully I'm going to read some fiction books. I'm going to load up my Kindle with some books and, you know, just kind of try and detach a bit. Okay, let's get to the questions and I'll shut up about myself here. All right. It's like it's funny, the chat window gets like smaller and smaller every time I look at it. So I only have like 4 lines to look through here. I must be doing something wrong here. I wonder if I like make my window really huge on the other screen here, if that helps or if it makes it worse. Okay, it looks like it doesn't matter. Okay, let's try one other thing. I think I may have the ability to look one other place. Thanks everyone for your patience as I work through this stuff here. Okay, and as we are waiting, if you have the ability to click the thumbs up, I would appreciate that. And okay, let me check. I think there may be a way that I could see the chat in a sort of a better view. So I'm going to try and do that just because I really actually can't read it very well. All right. The live control room, that looks like a good thing to go towards. And okay, yeah, that's a little bit better. Okay, I can do this. Cool, cool. I see a ton of chat. And if it's your first time today, thanks for joining. I appreciate it. Thanks, people, for clicking the thumbs up. And all right, okay. Well, I thought I had a better chat window. Okay, now we got it. Okay, Sarah, welcome, Sarah. Sarah says, how do I handle discouragement? At what point do you admit failure on a site and pivot to something else? Okay, this is a deep question. Maybe something I could talk about a little bit more in the future. I think I handle discouragement well, I think. One thing is, I think especially at this point, I expect to be discouraged. I basically expect everything to not work. I expect whatever plans that I make and whatever expectations I have, it's going to be like less results, less impact than I hope. And the other thing is that it's probably going to take longer than I expect. So with that in mind, it's harder to get really discouraged if your expectations are more realistic. And that's the thing. When you're disappointed or discouraged or something like that, it's usually because your expectations don't match with reality. So I guess I've like I'm just expecting everything to be so difficult that I'm okay with it. And I can tell you, like, when I had a corporate job, you know, you get the job, they send you to training for a few weeks, and you know, they're telling you all these great things. You're around people who are talking up the whole company and about getting promoted in, you know, 18 months to 3 years and stuff like that. And you're like moving in the right direction, you think. And then when you do what everyone says and it doesn't work, then it gets annoying, especially when you see other people that are, you know, you think they're not as good as you, they're not doing as good as work as you're doing, and it's just discouraging overall. So it was really frustrating then, but now that I'm like almost 20 years older, it's like, well, that's just how things work. So how do I handle it? I think I just constantly adjust. So if you expect that you have to adjust and things aren't going to go as planned, then you'll be okay. As far as admitting failure, usually I'm unsure. I'm unsure how to answer that, but basically you really only fail when you quit. But you could check out the book by Seth Godin called The Dip, and there's a point where it's like, okay, you just haven't tried hard enough and you didn't give it enough time you didn't adapt when you needed to adapt, and a few other things. But then sometimes things are just a bad idea, or you're bad at them. Not you specifically, Sarah, but sometimes people are just bad at stuff. So you kind of have to take it all into account. And to be honest, you never actually know. You just have to like make a decision, move forward, and then move on. And I do have a story that I could tell you, beer related, as you could imagine, if I have time at the end. Okay, next, Toki asks, on a new site with 5 KGR posts, what's the expected time frame to see results in Google? Brand new site, you should see probably 1 of the 5 in the top 50 within like a couple weeks or so. And you're asking, would the site still be in the sandbox? Yeah, for sure. The sandbox typically, I mean, you're going to see some traffic, you're going to see some good rankings, but after 6 months, like you'll see an improvement, most likely. Okay, and we see a bunch of other people here. Okay, and David says you swapped beer and coffee for water. Yep, for today, kind of, you know, got to nurse the liver. Also, it's 10:15 in the morning, so maybe later today. In fact, I know for sure I have, actually I have it right here. I can go around the corner. I'll be right back. I want to show you something. This whole keg of beer right here is empty, and I have to get more beer. I need a new one. So it's a 6th barrel, so it holds a little over 5 gallons, which is like 50 beers or so. So anyway, yeah, definitely gonna have a beer later when I pick something up here. Okay, I'm back. Bill, what's up? Okay, Polina says 1 month. Niche site, about 10 posts, 100 visitors in the first month, and you want to know when you can get $1,000 per month. Well, there's many factors involved, Paulina, but it sounds like you're on the right track. I would say to make $1,000 a month. Okay, I'm going to break it down a different way, give you even more detail than you asked for. So probably between like 4 and 6 or 7 months, you should be able to hit the first like $100 in a month. Okay, so that's one aspect. And then from there, it depends, right? Variables like how good the KGR terms are, right? The search volume, some of those are really gonna like do well if you have 10 posts now and you keep adding, you'll be in good shape. But I would say you can get to $1,000 a month within like 8 to 9 months. And maybe it takes you a year depending on things and how fast you can add more content and what link building you do. So there's a lot of factors involved with that. And I mean, really a lot of it comes down to the amount of effort and how much you'll put into it. So if you work harder on it and you spend more time, and like I said, when things don't work out, you figure them out and you adapt and you figure out how to make it work for you, then you can hit $1,000 sooner. So it depends though. So it depends. Kat's on, what's up? John's on from San Antonio. Paul says, how many links do I build to a site in a given month? And how many people help you build those links? I don't really look at it as a per month thing. So I do more like sprints of work. So I don't know. I can't really answer that very well since it's not like the way that I work. How many people help me build those links? Anywhere from 0, just me, to like 2 additional people. But you could, of course, grow it bigger if you wanted. But if you want a baseline, like if you could get, let's say you can get 4 to 10 links per month, which is, from modest to sort of, to the point of aggressive where you're working hard on it. If you can get 4 to 10 links per month consistently, that's a lot of links. That's a whole lot of links. So as a baseline, just to give you an idea, the Project Go White Hat site had about 45 links per month. So 4 to 10 links per month, that would be like 1,000 links. So 4 to 10 links per month, that would be like 1,000 links. So 4 to 10 links per month, that would be like 1,000 links. So 4 to 10 links per month, that would be like 1,000 links. So 4 to 10 links per month, that would be like 1,000 links. So 4 to 10 links per month, that would be like 1,000 links. So 4 to 10 links per month, that would be like 1,000 links. So 4 to 10 links per month, that would be like 1,000 links. So 4 to 10 links per month, that would be like 1,000 links. So 4 to 10 links per month, that would be like 1,000 links. So 4 to 10 links per month, that would be like 1,000 links. So 4 to 10 links per month, that would be like 1,000 links. So 4 to 10 links per month, that would private blog network links, and it was making a lot of money. You can go back and see like the sort of trajectory, but it was making like 10K a month with 45 PBN links, and then it went up to like 32K in December of last year. And we were working on some other things too, so there's multiple factors. There's some birds flying around out there. The magpies are very noisy and they're a little aggressive. Okay, as we're going through here, Pastor Duke, what's up? What's the click-through rate I shoot for on a money page to Amazon? I really don't aim for anything specific, and I don't keep up. I'm terrible with stats, even though I have a pretty strong math background. And it's interesting, and I like numbers and spreadsheets and stuff, but I don't really track that. So, and you're asking, what's a good CTR to Amazon, not a conversion, just a CTR to Amazon. Okay, I only have two like data points with like a large amount of data. One site is the Project White Hat site, and one is another one. So one site had, I think it was like between like a 45 and 60% click-through rate to Amazon. And we didn't, differentiate between unique users. So the same user could have clicked over like 30 times. We had no way to track that and didn't look into it. So 45 to 60 or something like that. And I can tell you that the conversion rate as reported by Amazon on the dashboard was lower. It was sort of like, I think it was like between 3.5% and like 6%. And then in December, it was like 8%. And then on another site, the click-through rate to Amazon is like 30 to 40% or so. But the conversion rate on Amazon is like 12, 13%. So you could see there's a bit of a balance. One site had a lot more traffic and a lot more people going to Amazon, but it was less targeted. They weren't strong like buying keywords. However, the other site, the second site that I mentioned, it had like the right kind of people that are buyers, and it had a lower click-through rate to Amazon, but more people bought once they were there. Are those good? I have no idea. That's the only data I have. And David says, how do I get my head to shine so nicely? It could be the lighting. Yeah, it's not easy to do. Part of it's lighting. I have a light on right there, and then the other part is the polish. You don't get a shiny head like this without polish, and you definitely have to get rid of all the hair. All right, that is a good question though, David. Paul says, do I build links for my site if I know that the link is nofollow? Yeah, so like the blog commenting and stuff that I do, those are nofollow. D-Card says, you're going to hire a writer today from Upwork. Any tips? Yeah, so I'll just give you 3. 1, be sort of flexible, right? Be flexible so that you can adapt when things don't go as expected. 2, I would say, make sure you just hire them for a trial job. And 3, if you want to get one writer like for sort of a longer term, or at least a multi-article project, hire 2 for like one article like trial run. Have them write different articles, of course, so you could use them both, and pick the best one. Don't waste your time trying to interview people or ask a bunch of questions or anything. Like, just get them to do the job, and if they could do the job well and you like working with them, that's good. It should be like a good pair of shoes, right? You shouldn't have to like wear the shoes and like break them in and all this stuff and stretch them out. I used to think that, but really, if it's the right pair of shoes, you put them on, they feel good, and you can walk around, and you don't have a blister on your heel because you walked around a little bit in a new pair of shoes. So there's so many writers out there, you don't have to like bend to what they want you to do. You can find one where you both work together well. Jason says, hello from Ohio. What's up? Thanks for joining. Usually catch the replays, but you're able to log on live today. Cool, Jason. Thanks for hopping on, and let me know if you have any questions. All right. Richard says, what should guest post anchor text consist of? It should be, here's what I do almost 100% of the time. It's keyword rich, it's a partial match, and it's sort of a longer phrase, at least like 1.5 to 2.5 times the number of words that are a partial match. So the whole idea is a long phrase and randomness, sort of, so that if some, you're not going to be over optimized. That's the idea. Don't be over optimized. Florian says you have 4 articles on page 1 with Google, but still only 2 to 10 views per day. What can you do to ramp up things? So, and you're almost finished with a top expert blog. Does that really help? Okay, so get more links to the, just pick one of those 4 pages, pick one, right? And then get like 10 links to that page. And then come back in like 4 weeks or so, and then let me know how it's going. As far as a top expert blog, does it really help? It won't hurt things. You could get a couple shares, maybe some people read other articles. It's not a bad thing. If you got it in place, then that's awesome. Keep up the good work, Florian. It sounds like you're making progress. All right. Paul says, your site's traffic is decreasing and you check your webmaster tools. You notice that there's a drop. There isn't a penalty. Any advice? Say it's decreasing for a few months now. So most things come down to 2 areas, the content and then the links. So on the content, I would take an audit of your site as it's compared to a couple of the top, I guess, niche sites in your niche. So, pick one page that is, good on your site. Look at the keyword density, look at the number of links, and take a look at just maybe even the number of images. Go deep, right? Look at the number of images they have, see if they have videos on their page. What kind of subheadings do they have? Do they have tables? Do they have bulleted lists? See what the difference is, and then see if you could improve your on-page content. Additionally, you may need to look at your internal linking structure. If you're unsure how to do that, go and take a look at the one of the videos where I talk about internal linking structure. And basically, you just want to have a bunch of links all over the place on your site. And then after that, if you haven't been adding links, I know you've been asking about link building and stuff like that. If you haven't been adding links, go ahead and do that. And same advice I gave to Florian. Basically, pick one of those, pick a post, right? Pick one of your best posts that's doing well already. See if you can get 10 guest posts or other links to that page. Wait about 4 weeks and then come back and let me know how it's going. Sound good? All right. Eustace says, hello from Kenya. Keep up the good work. Thank you. Thanks for watching. How do I tell if a particular, let's try that again. How do I tell if a particular niche is worth pursuing? Or how do I go about selecting current niches? Basically, if there are other sites out there, then it's worth pursuing. I think maybe you have deeper questions in there, but yeah, you need to make sure there's enough keywords and that there's products to sell, and then usually it's good. Brandon says, I would really appreciate my advice on finding a content manager to edit your post and writer's article. You haven't had any luck. You spent an entire day off editing and posting them myself. That's the worst. It takes forever. So Brandon, I think for finding a content manager / editor, I would say, it's actually similar to the writer stuff. So hire 2. You do need to have a tight set of instructions for them to follow. I recommend you keep it simple at first, and then you add complexity as you go. I also encourage you to, maybe promote a writer that you already have on hand. And Brandon, I think I actually have a full live training on this very topic. So you ought to check the YouTube channel, do a search. I think it may be either scaling or hiring writers or something like that. It's been in the last few weeks, so it should be like a live stream. But the other thing is, it takes time. Some of them are not going to work out. I think I've hired maybe 5 or 6 in the past like 12 months, and like 2 were really good, and 2 of them flaked out, and 1 was okay until she didn't have any more time to help me. So a couple have been awesome, and the one I have now is great, and I'm paying her twice as much as I was paying the original folks. But overall, the hardest part is the training part. So make sure you document what you're doing well. Don't record a video, by the way, because if something changes, it's a huge pain in the ass to change a video. Create a Google Doc, take screenshots, step-by-step process, show them how to do it, let them leave comments, and then it's super easy. Like if there's a gap or something that you missed, you can go back and edit it. If you shoot a video, like a lot of people will say, I just recorded a video and sent it to my VA. Stuff changes all the time. Tools change, WordPress changes, like little things change. When those little things change, huge pain in the butt. So don't do videos. Okay. Cool. Lila says, do I use forums to get backlinks? Nope, sure don't. Are links from forums good? They can be, but not necessarily. What are the best ways to get backlinks without guest posting? So the other way, okay, and I don't talk about this too much, but the other way to get backlinks without guest posting is to just be like really awesome. So if you're really awesome, then you can tell people about what you're doing and they'll link to your site. But I have a feeling, and nothing to you personally, Layla, like if you're asking about like getting backlinks without guest posting, it maybe indicates to me that you're trying to like find a faster way. And if you're trying to find a faster way, the thing that I just described, like be awesome and then tell people about it, that's probably not going to be your thing either. So no, I don't know if I could help you. And sorry, private blog networks. I don't use them. They're riskier, but if you don't want to do guest posting and you want to get backlinks, I would go to like a very high quality private blog network provider like Matt Diggity Marketing. I would check that out and just pay top dollar for like good links. Okay. As we're going through here, Paul says, as a follow-up, what if you know your guest post will have no follow links? Then I probably wouldn't go for it. Yeah, good question. If it's, 1 or 2 of those are fine, right? If it's a good site, go for it. But as a rule, if you start finding that most of the sites that you're posting on are no follow, then you probably need to tweak like whatever your inputs are. QDog, what's up? Thanks for joining. When making featured images on Canva, can you use a product image from Amazon, SiteStripe, and modify that? I don't know. I'm not sure. I doubt it. I wouldn't worry about it. Meaning I wouldn't do it. I would rather not do that. Okay, and QDog says, you've seen niche site, use product images and blur out the name and brand information. Is that okay? Probably not. It's a copyright thing. So when you look at it from that lens, that's a copyright violation. Can people get away with it? Sure. They could actually get like the permission from the manufacturer, right? The manufacturer wants to sell stuff. So potentially you could email the manufacturer and say, hey, do you have any images that I can use? And they can say yes or no. You need to get in writing and all that stuff. But basically it's a copyright thing. So Look into the Sky says, what kinds of sites accept guest posts most often? And I'm going to tweak your question so it's better. What kind of sites accept guest posts most often that we want to publish on? Because there's a lot of sites that'll accept guest posts that are like not the kind of links we want. So those are ones that everyone else is looking for too, that has like guest post guidelines and stuff. They'll accept them, but you really don't want links there because everyone else is getting links there. So the sites that accept guest posts are the ones that you've developed a relationship with. So that is that's a harder thing to do, but high touch outreach, HTO, I'm going to start talking about that more, but it's a multi-step process, right? High touch, like there's more touch points. So if you build a relationship, you could probably get a guest post. For example, I'll use Niche Site Project as the example. And basically, like a couple people, actually I get emails often, although I think it's gone down just here recently, but people would send me an email. They're like, hey, I developed a new product. It's super cool. I think it's great for your audience. What do you think if you just, either let me do a guest post or maybe you just link to it and tell your audience about it? So I actually stopped. I used to respond to those, but in the book called Deep Work, Cal Newport talks about like you don't owe them a response. Like it is the person who emails you. It's their responsibility to make a compelling argument for me to even reply to them. So when they just came to me with their with their hands out, they want something from me. Just tell them. I just tell them to take a hike. I ignore it. I delete it. Sometimes I'll mark it as spam. Just because it's such a bad pitch and it's so inconsiderate. And there's other stuff that I could actually push where I'm like friends with the people and I know who they are. So that brings me to just developing the relationship with someone. And, there are, people that I know that I've known for years and they could just send me an email. Hey, I want to push something. I have a new product, blah, blah, blah. Do you want to work with me? And I will. I'll even be flexible and go out of my way to help them out. Okay. All right. Matthias says, do I trust keyword difficulty metrics with tools like Ahrefs and others? No, generally not. You found keywords with 1 to 5 KD, but big sites really rank with positions 1 to 3 with a keyword included in the title. So I normally don't trust those. However, to be fair, I haven't done like a tight study or any sort of data analysis on it, but in general, not really. And I think those kind of metrics, just if everyone has access to the same metrics, it's sort of less valuable. I think Matthew said like those specific, like a KD of like 1 to 5, I would imagine would be pretty easy to rank for, but the only way to find out is to test it for yourself. Every niche is different. Brenda says, thanks for the Q&A. The efforts inspired you to keep busy. Awesome, thanks. Thanks for saying that. David says, do I use Schema on my sites? You just started it. No, I sure don't. Is it going well so far, David? I haven't used Schema at all. And QDog mentions to Brandon, you spent a day editing an article too. It's the worst. And in the converse, right? So I actually was the bottleneck, but I published like, I won't say the exact amount, but it was like over 40 articles like in the last couple of days. And I just like hopped onto the WordPress dashboard, looked at stuff that was drafted for me and went ahead and just hit publish on a bunch of stuff. And it was awesome. It took like an hour. So in contrast, like if you could find a good content manager, saves you hours. It's a no-brainer to hire a person to do content management for you. Okay. And Paul says you've added 10 KGR pieces of content and you're adding 1 to 2 a day. Awesome. That sounds good. Let me know what happens. And let's see. Paul says, when you say build a relationship with bloggers before pitching them a guest post, what's a timeline? When do you decide it's the right time to pitch? So, okay, I'll just answer it straight up. I won't give too many caveats here. Give it like about a month. Give it a month, and you should build the relationship to the point where they know who you are. You've exchanged several emails, and it's not a pitch at that point. So if you think about it that way, it should help. Does it take longer? Yeah, but your conversion rate will go up by like 1,000%, like 10x. Okay, so Layla says, as a follow-up, I'm not trying to find an easy way, just writing isn't your strong point, plus English isn't your first language, so you would have to outsource. Okay, cool, good to know. Yeah, so at that point, I'm not 100% sure like the best approach, but I can tell you that a student from Five Figure Niche Site, he hit his first $100 month. He enrolled in, I believe, April. So he's only been in this like niche site world for a few months. And did he enroll in April? I think that's right. Maybe January at the most. So he hit his first $100 month in the time frame that I outlined earlier. So total, I mean, in English is not his first language. He just followed the steps, right? He followed the steps, and when he hit a snag, he figured out how to get around it. So you could figure it out also. And David says, be awesome and tell people. Best advice. It seems, this is a callback to what I said earlier, it seems to be the place, the way things are going, make content that you would like to read and trust. Better the post, the easier the link building. Yeah, that's true. And I mean, you know, people ask certain questions, and, you know, I try to imagine, you know, where they're at. But I will say, at some point, like if you build the relationship really well, then, you know, the link building part is pretty easy. The relationship building part may be harder, but I mean, it's still like the same steps over and over again. Okay. Layla says, so that's why you asked if there's any other ways to get guest posting, because writing in English isn't your first language. So can you get backlinks through images? You have a design background. I don't know. I mean, I've heard people talk about it, and maybe you could be creative with that. But I mean, I think as far as like an effectiveness standpoint, you know, guest posting is probably the best route. But I mean, you could totally, you could totally just use PBNs if you want. They work well. It's more risky, but you know, it's hard to really, like, I guess, change the formula. Like, you have to get links from somewhere. Guest posting is a really good way. I mean, you can, if you just have a really good site, maybe you focus all on relationship building, and then you just hire someone to write the guest posts. I mean, that's literally what I did. I mean, I know how to do the relationship building part. That part's really important. The writing is not as important. Syrian says, what do I think about the Yoast SEO plugin? It's fine. I've used it before. Okay. And Brandon says 40. Wow, that's how many posts I publish, and you haven't done that in a month. You have about 40 written. Yeah, like if you get other people to write it for you and other people to like edit it, it goes way faster. And by the way, I mean, it wasn't necessarily cheap. I paid, you know, I'll do some case study, or at least share the results in, you know, probably 6 months or so when I actually have some data. But, you know, I'm paying a fair, good rate for the content. I'm managing a team. I just brought back on a guy that I used to work with, I guess last year, and he has a couple, 1 to 2 people working with him. They can write a lot, and they can write it very, very fast. So at this point, I think I have 1, 2, 3, and then probably like 6-ish writers or so. And some are doing, you know, 1 article per day. Others are doing like 3 per week. So it's like different levels. And then I have my content manager. who edits and like gets everything ready, drafts everything in WordPress for me. So it's a nice flow, and I just need to publish more stuff. All right. Let's see here. And yep, Dennis is reminding us to give a thumbs up. Appreciate it. Yeah, just click like below. If you have the opportunity, actually, this will be cool too. If you could just, if you have the ability to share the video like on Facebook is actually pretty good. If you happen to know like even just one person you could share this video with. I know a lot of us are in Facebook groups. So if you know like 1 or 2 people in those groups, or if you could like share the video in the group and the moderator won't get mad, that'd be like really awesome. Really would appreciate that. Okay. Mr. Epic says, what's your best tool for doing guest posting? Would I recommend Pitchbox versus Ninja Outreach? Okay. So I know the founder at Ninja Outreach. He and I were in a mastermind together back in the day, Dave Schneider. So basically, the tool doesn't matter. I recommend Ninja Outreach because I've used it before. I've never used Pitchbox, but like most things that I talk about, the tool doesn't actually matter. The theme doesn't matter. The way you make tables, that part doesn't matter. It's like the principles and the system that you're using. So if you do the high touch outreach, it doesn't matter what tool you're using, you're developing the relationship. So I don't use any tools right now. I just use a spreadsheet and that's it. So are those tools good for like a CRM standpoint and that sort of stuff? Yeah, I don't think they're necessary though. There's actually too much. Most of the things they're like too robust for me. Really, they're just like, there's too many options and I don't want that. So when I look at what I needed and what they were trying to give me, they were giving me too much, but it wasn't actually solving the problem I needed solved. So a spreadsheet solved it. So I just use a spreadsheet. Okay, and then David mentions you started Schema with a buddy of yours that does high-end technical SEO, and it works wonders when you have first page positions and there are some good WordPress plugins. That's interesting, David. Let me know if you see some good results, because I think a lot of stuff that I'm working on, like little tweaks, I have like enough volume of content where like little tweaks that like move the needle 5% or something like that would be interesting. All right. Okay, so we see Wesley says, what do I know about the latest Google updates? Have my sites been affected? Nope, I don't know anything about the updates, sorry. No impact that I know of. Tihan is on, what's up? Good to have you on. And Mr. Epic says, can I do a video on guest posting walkthrough using a tool? I could do it. I'll think about it. But since I don't use a tool, I know I could sell affiliate stuff if I show people how to use the tool and all that, but it's not really what I'm looking to do. So we're going through here. And then Tihana says, do I always make sure the products you choose within a niche also fall in the same product category so the commission rate is not lower? Interesting question, deep. No, I don't, because people buy all sorts of stuff. I purchased a bunch of stuff from Amazon the other day, and I got like these like rechargeable batteries here. I got rechargeable batteries, and I got, what else did we order? I don't remember. Just a bunch of random stuff from different categories. So the point is, it doesn't matter exactly what you're selling because people will buy other stuff. So just keep that in mind. Syrian says, just making sure you can't publish one article for 2 websites, even when you verified both in your Google Analytics as yours. It's going to be flagged as plagiarism. No, you could publish it, just link back to the first article. Like publish one and then let it sit for like a week, and then you could publish it somewhere else and then link back to the original. There's something called a canonical tag. Look it up. But you know, it probably doesn't matter too much. Okay, QDog says, out of interest, what tools and plugins have I actually spent money on? Good question. You ask because as marketers, we're continually sold on stuff. Yeah, we are. Okay, any more questions? And I'll answer that. Get your last questions in. I'm going to try and end it before too long. So get them in, type them in, and I'll get to them here. Okay, so let's see. I have spent money on like keyword research tools. I've settled on, you know, currently right now, Keyword Keg. And then for, let's see, I'm trying to think of other stuff. I use like Aweber, right? So I need email list management. And then I, you know, some of the sort of optional things that I have, Webinar Jam. So I like tried not to use Webinar Jam for a long time, and then it just automates a lot of stuff, and it actually works pretty well. So I've used those couple things. At this point, I'm actually investing like way more on like education and courses and stuff. So I just bought Call to Action as a copywriting course by Ramit Sethi. And it seems very good so far. You know, a lot of this stuff, it's interesting. A lot of this stuff is not, you know, exactly new, but when you invest in a course, like you do, you know, you're meeting people, you're able to network with people who also invested a lot into a course, and they take it seriously because they've also invested money. So it's an interesting thing that you get out of it that's not obvious. Another thing, and I know you're asking about, you know, tools and plugins and stuff. I use Manage WP for like WordPress backups that are like off-site. So a lot of hosting, like I guess hosting plans will have like a backup, but usually they'll just store it on the same server. So let's say your server goes down, hard drive goes down, everything dies, it's gone. Your site's gone. Like you may have nothing to go off of. So having an offsite backup is important. You know, something like Manage WP costs like $2 a month per site, super cheap. It's a no-brainer. And then I'm trying to think of a couple other, if there's any other little things. Oh, and then the last thing, I'm actually going, I just like bought all this stuff so I can go to the Converted conference. I've never been to a conference before. I've talked about it for years, but I'm going to Minneapolis in October for a couple days, and it's put on by Lead Pages, and it should be cool. I'm looking forward to it. Again, this is it's an expensive thing to do, so it's like $650 to $850 to buy the ticket just to the 2-day conference. And then it's like $200 a night for the hotel. And then it's like 500 plus for me to fly there. So, you know, off the bat, without like buying any food or anything, it's, you know, $1,800. So everyone else there also paid a similar amount. So you end up working with people that are like a different caliber than, you know, if there's like a free conference meetup thing, there's going to be a lot of people that are like not operating where I want to operate, if that makes sense. Okay. Let's see, any other questions? I see some in there, so get the last ones in. Jester says, is ranking on Google the #1 goal? Or if you get traffic from, say, YouTube, Facebook ads, or AdSense, is it just as effective as ranking on Google? Okay. The actual real number one goal is to make money. So don't forget that. I think your real question is around ranking number one in Google. The good part about ranking number one in Google is like once you get there, like it takes a while to get there. And that also implies like once you get there, it's a little more stable. The YouTube can also be very stable. I haven't had that happen. When you go to other channels, like social channels, a lot of times you're going to have to continue to like nurture that. So Facebook, for example, you know, either if you're doing ads, like wherever they are, Pinterest or Instagram or Facebook, if you're running ads, you're going to have to keep like paying money to get ads. So is it just as effective? It depends on what your goal is. So you have to know like your front end and back end, you know, cost and then the amount each, you know, lead is worth to you. So if you know that, the math is really simple. Making it work is very hard. But as far as is it as effective as ranking on Google? Totally depends on your goal. So I don't know. Okay. And Wesley says, "What's my favorite home brew for blogging?" Like a light Belgian. So I just brewed. It's kind of a saison, which is a Belgian beer. It's sort of light in color, and maybe I'll do a little video on that sometime. Okay, and then Mirja says .com, .org, or .net. Does it really matter? Probably doesn't really matter. I always go for .com though. Eustace says old domain or new domain, doesn't matter, whatever you want. Probably an old domain is gonna like rank faster and do a little better more quickly. Is it easy to get one of those? No, you probably have to buy an existing blog to make that happen. You could get an expired domain, but depending on how long it's been expired, it may take a while to get like re-indexed and like get the old power back. And okay, and then another question, is it okay to start a niche website on an expired niche related domain with high metrics? Sure, that's great. You need to make sure it's 100% clean though. So the only problem is, here's a problem. If you're asking, and not pointing you out specifically, but you asked the question. So if you're asking if it's okay to start a niche website on an expired domain, it means you probably don't know how to check for spam effectively. So usually if you find an expired domain with high metrics, it's usually garbage. So you need to really make sure that you're starting on a good domain, because here's what will happen if it's not. You'll do a bunch of work, you'll do all the stuff that I've told you about, and then you'll find out that the site has like an ongoing penalty and it was flagged back in the day. Here's the thing, if it's a great domain, why would the person let it expire? They wouldn't. So, or the spammer, that is, you know, if someone had it and it's, you know, was used for spam, like they'll hold on to it as long as they can. And then when it stops being effective, they'll get rid of it. So rare to find them these days. Okay, and then Syrian says, how many external links should ideally be on a page? Almost impossible to answer, but I'll just say as many as it takes to get to number one. So there's no like actual answer to that. Paul says, you think you've asked it before. All right, Paul, you got to remember, you should write this stuff down. If you're asking me a question, you should write it down. You should write the answer down and like do it. Okay, how do you ensure the writers are actually providing accurate information in the product reviews? So this is kind of a dick answer, sorry. You read it and then you evaluate if it's right or not. I mean, that's literally the only way to do it. If you hire good writers, they should be doing a good job. Have I ever ranked first, Doug? Yeah, I have. How long did it take? How long have you held that position? It always varies. When I first started, it took like 2 months, right? That was like 4 years ago. It took like 2 months to rank #1 for like a 9,000 word term. It was crazy. And I held it for months. And then I've ranked for hundreds of other terms #1. It's taken as short as weeks now that my site's established, or as long as it takes. All right. And Leo's out. Thanks for joining up today. You have a good weekend too. I appreciate that. And Syrian says, have I ever considered a brewing page? I thought about it a little bit, but maybe once, you know, if I sell like a very big site and I could take some time off, that'd be a cool thing to work on. And Tiana says, have I thought about YouTube ads for my channel? I thought about it a little bit, but I am focusing on like organic stuff versus paid things right now. I'm not sure when that'll shift, but I know right now I don't have like the time. I don't have the time, but more I don't have the mental focus to look at ads. I kind of like to understand how to do this stuff, even though like I probably should hire someone to help me, but I don't think it's time yet for me to do it. And I think, Tihana, I bet it really pays off because I see some people running ads, and of course they can really build up their channel quickly. Federer says, would redoing your content on your homepage, which is already ranking on page, affect rankings? Maybe. Steven says, is there a story behind the star tattoo on the arm? You'd love to hear it. Yeah, there's a little story. I should tell it sometime. Should tell that one sometime. Maybe I'll do a vlog entry. That's something I can actually do next week while I'm taking some time off. I'll probably get a lot of like cool footage of like family stuff and just sitting around playing board games and whatnot. All right. And the follow-up from Federer, would it affect your rankings in a negative way? Maybe. It's hard to say. So. And then look into the sky says, does 5 figures a month make you more happy in life? Not specifically, but the process of doing it is cool, and I like that. But the money, I mean, I basically was buying whatever I wanted anyway before. So for me, the money has little to do with it, and it's more about the time. And let's see. Martin says, how many affiliate sites do I have? A few. But I really only focus on not more than like 2 at a time. Oh, and by the way, look into this, guy. So does the 5 figures a month make you more happy? Like the thing is, I was pretty happy before. So like, if you're not happy, like the money's probably not going to make you happy. If you're already happy and you get some more money, then you could probably like, the way I don't buy like more things, right? I'll replace or upgrade things. Like I got like a nicer camera, but it was like time for me to like buy a new camera, and it was a thing that I wanted, and it would help, you know, shoot these YouTube videos. I'm using the laptop right now, by the way, not the new camera, but basically like I don't necessarily like buy new stuff or more stuff. I'll like eliminate a problem that is annoying. So that's like, to get rid of the negatives, like that helps me a lot more than to like add things that like would be positive. Cause like I mean, I don't know if you guys watch, I wear like this, just like t-shirts. I mean, I'm not buying like fancy new clothes or anything like that. Or like cars or anything. I have like what year was my truck made? I have like a 11-year-old truck, and I just got like a permanent registration tag. So like I'm keeping my 10-year-old truck because it's fine and I like it. And if I got like a new fancy truck, like, you know, it can get a scratch on it. I got tons of scratches on my truck already. I don't have to worry about that anymore. So it's just like, I don't need fancy stuff. Maybe it would be cool to have 4-wheel drive because it's snowy here a decent number of months in Montana. But it turns out like 2-wheel drive, even in a truck, like they clear the roads here and it's not awful. I don't even drive that much, by the way. So, okay, and Syrian says, am I doing intermittent fasting with keto, by the way, or just fasting? Just a tiny bit of fasting. Oh yeah, someone asked about that the other day. I think maybe Dennis or maybe Dennis. Anyway, I am doing like intermittent fasting. So I'll eat like, I won't eat my first meal until like 1 or 2 in the afternoon. And I'll do that maybe like 2 or 3 times a week. So it's been good. It's been interesting. And I was like overeating a lot. Like just, I was eating because of the time of day, not because I was hungry. So this has like got me more comfortable with feeling hungry. Like right now, I'm super hungry. All right. Any other, okay, we got some more questions coming in. Okay, and Wesley says, keep up the good work. Thank you. I'll do my best. You published a bunch of KGR keywords. Looking forward to some results. Paul says, what are the weekend plans? We're actually, so my family gets in on Saturday evening, sort of late. So today will be like cleaning up like more stuff. So we got a bed here. If you are an avid watcher, you'll notice this bed was not here before. We got a new bed, which is cool. So we have like a proper guest room. Of course, it makes my office like just cramped up, which is not ideal. But I'm going to do some cleaning today. And then the cool thing is we're going to Big Sky, which is like a sort of a resort town about an hour away. It's higher up in the mountains. It's going to be cooler. I think the temperatures are going to be like from the 30s up to like the 60s or so. So like much cooler. I mean, it's going to be like 90 here. This is all Fahrenheit, of course. It's going to be like 90 here in town today, but we're going a little further higher in elevation. It's set in the mountains a little bit more. And yeah, we're just going to chill out there for a few days. And I've alluded to the board games. We play like sort of nerdy board games like Dominion, Settlers of Catan. What are some of the other 7 Wonders? Those sort of strategy games. So yeah, it should be fun. David says, what happened to the shared office space? Yeah, so I checked that out one day. I may go back there a little bit more, but one, it's a tad expensive just for like a day pass. It's $25, which may be average, but I didn't actually get like a ton out of being there. Here's a big thing, kind of funny. The owners and the normal employees were sick the day that I went to that office space. And it was like one of the owner's mother-in-laws was there. So I didn't get a proper tour, and they didn't have any coffee. Like they didn't have any coffee going, and they also they had like a Keurig in the other room, like for everyone to use. There was like no water in it, no pods, and like no instructions. And the lady that was watching the place, doing her kids a favor, she was like on the phone the whole time. So I didn't want to go up to her and say, hey, can you show me like how to do the coffee? Like where's the coffee at? I was told there's gonna be coffee here. So none of that. So anyway, I should go back, give them another chance, because for a day pass, kind of expensive, but it's like $200 a month, and I can go a few times a week. So maybe in the next month it would actually make sense. So but there were a couple people in there, And interesting thing, I've actually met up with a couple like YouTubers in town here, and they're doing really well. So it's been interesting. Okay, and Arthur says, is it worth it to promote a 2K product? Sure. Yeah, it's worth it. I would make sure you have a blend of stuff. The problem with expensive products is they will not convert as well because people don't spend big sums of money as often. So you should have a blend of products. And Mirage says, am I considering a giveaway for you? Less rich at some point. I have amazing content, but a giveaway is a giveaway. No, I wasn't planning on it, but I'll keep it in mind. And Tiana says, by the way, the setup today is cool. Awesome, thanks. Like what, the lighting or something different? And Duck Sauce says, what's my take on building out a long-term authority site? I think it's great. I think, one thing I point out often is like the niche and authority site terms are just like a marketing and branding thing. So some people, really put a lot on the semantics of it, but I mean, it's really the same thing. So when I talk about like my niche site, it's like 400 posts, right? It's a lot of content. There's like a ton of backlinks. There's a brand around it. I mean, some people would call that an authority site, but my site's called Niche Site Project. So I call it a niche site. So what's my take on building out an authority site? I think it's awesome. You should go for it. Syrian says, you feel like big things don't convert much, but if someone wants a new bike, they'll look up a review and then buy it in a local shop. Yeah, sometimes. Just depends. Everyone's a little different though. Arthur says, how to select top 10 product when some product has 300 cells with 4-star reviews and some product has 200 cells with 5-star reviews. You just pick whatever you want. I mean, those are probably fine. Totally up to you, and it honestly probably doesn't matter that much. Okay. David says, come to a shared office space there. There's a view of the beach, free coffee, beer, and so much more. Actually, that sounds pretty nice. This sounds way better than the one I went to. Although there's supposed to be a happy hour on like Thursday afternoons at the co-work Bozeman. So maybe I should check that out because there'll be probably more people there and just there will be beer. All right, it looks like that's it. I'm out of here. I need to go run and get some stuff done. And I saw Mirage says, what are the taboos of Amazon associates that when you do on your site, they'll close your account for? There's like dozens of them. So it's a little too much to get into, but just I'll tell you the two biggest ones. Don't list the price. Can't list the price on there. You have to use the API. So it pulls the actual real price from Amazon. And then using the images from Amazon. You need to use the API for that as well. So if you just use the site stripe on the Amazon Associates like toolbar or whatever at the top, that'll take care of like most of the issues that you have. That is a good topic though. That's something I could probably go really deep on and have like a full series on it. So, okay, I'm gonna get out of here. Everyone look out for the videos coming in the next week. I've worked hard to make them shorter, and I have a very good editor and she's way better than me. All right, see ya everyone, and we'll catch you in a couple weeks. Thanks.